the Sci-Fi Channel.
This time on Sci-Fi Buzz, we're going to a Star Trek convention. Be honest, do I look like a geek? It's the Star Trek Grand Slam show, and Sci-Fi Buzz is there. Stan Lee chronicles the X-Men phenomenon. A happy birthday to the late movie gimmick king, William Castle. And Timothy Hutton discovers his dark half in the new Stephen King, George Romero thriller.
When all this is over, I might be settling down up this way, and I sure would want you to think kindly of me.
Hi, I'm Mike Jarek. Welcome to Sci-Fi Buzz. You know, I've always heard that a woman loves a man in a uniform. What do you think, ladies? Oh, a 10. Thanks a lot. That's fabulous. Oh. You know, if you're not careful, I'll just beam you right over the Home Shopping Network. You know, recently we went to the Pasadena Civic Center to visit with 15,000 Star Trek fans out there celebrating Star Trek. Guess who was there, in and out of uniform?
You have a weakness which we will exploit and destroy you.
Weakness is irrelevant. Klingon species will become one with the Borg.
It was billed as the Grand Slam Star Trek show by convention organizers, Creation Entertainment. Fans were beamed into a jam-packed world of Vogers, Vulcans, and VITs, very important Trekkers, that is. It was Deep Space Nine star Rene Auberjonois' biggest Bond fest yet with fans.
It's this flood, this almost flame of people constantly changing and making eye contact and talking to them just for a few seconds. It's so energizing. It's wonderful.
Aliens and Earthlings from all corners of the Star Trek galaxy were on hand to entertain the masses.
I just make them, I don't wear them.
Makeup artist Michael Westmore piqued audience interest with a sampling of the critters he creates for the next generation and family newcomer Deep Space Nine.
To be able to create and then put it all together and see it come to life, it's really exciting.
Continuing an age-old convention tradition, fans in far-out fashions were out in force. On hand to review the alien attire was Star Trek buff B. Joe Trimble, who started a letter-writing campaign to save the original series. She believes the trend began as more than just a way to play dress-up.
It was a chance to, in some cases, express a latent love of costuming and makeup. I think almost everybody would like to be a makeup artist or a costumer or something connected with Hollywood.
But more importantly,
where else can they run around as a Klingon or as a Borg without getting arrested?
Okay, so maybe some of the Star Trek aliens do have an ominous look to them. But pint-sized Trekker Ashley Griffin, who's all of 8 years old, gets mighty peeved when Enterprise enemies are looked on as evil.
Well, whoever said it was bad to be the bad guy. And besides, you never even know who really is the bad guy. The bad guys think you're the bad guys, and you think they're the bad guys.
Klingons aren't bad, we're honor-bound.
This voracious Trekker insists on being referred to by the name of Klingon warrior 2nd Lieutenant Katong. The Star Trek Federation's fickle relationship with the Klingon race has proven to be enormously popular, not only with fans, but cast members as well.
Well, I'd love to do a Klingon at some stage. You know, I love to. It's those guys get away with murder. You know, they can be rowdy and raucous and all that. So that'd be fun at some point.
For those who for years have tried to decipher the secrets of the Star Trek phenomenon, you may be looking too deep. Most fans, like Allison Cutler, settle for the simple facts.
Let's face it, it's good, clean fun. It's great. I used to watch it when I was a kid. I'd come up from school and watch Star Trek.
Year after year, fans remain loyal to Star Trek, and cast members remain loyal to fans. Out of a visionary science fiction series conceived almost 3 decades ago, has come the largest, liveliest space bash on Earth. Of course, there are conventions all over the country, and we try to get to most of them. This is one you might want to mark on your calendar, the famous Monsters of Filmland convention at the Hyatt Regency in Arlington, Virginia. Forrest J. Ackerman is hosting this Monster Mash, and look at the lineup. It's all happening May 28th, 29th, and 30th. I'd call this a Buzz best bet, so be there.
Hey guys, if you don't think fresh, clean breath is important, how come you never see a personal ad that says, beautiful woman seeks guy with really bad mouth odor? I checked the whole paper. Get some certs.
Want fresh, clean breath? Be certain with Certs.
Come on, Louisiana, take a ride with me. There's a year-long Mardi Gras you've got to see. We're gonna drift on down the old bayou, from Shreveport down to Lake Calcasieu. Folks get together, dance the do-do. Seafood's flowing wherever you go. They party in New Orleans like a hurricane, with umbrellas and a quarter when there ain't no rain. We're really cooking. We're cooking up fun for you.
So you call a girl up for a date. She says, no problem. You say, let's go to a movie. She says, no problem. You show up without using Certs. She says, there's a problem.
Want fresh, clean breath? Be certain with Certs.
Defend the galaxy against evil Cylons in the Emmy Award-winning Battlestar Galactica. Weeknights at 8.
You are watching Sci-Fi Buzz on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Every month, enter the world of fine interior design. Enter the fascinating world of Architectural Digest. View a pied-à-terre in Paris, a noted fashion designer's rustic Montana ranch, a renowned artist's Hudson River farmhouse, and an English designer's bright and airy London home. Every issue of Architectural Digest will enlighten and inspire. You'll discover how the world's top interior designers help their clients capture their personalities in their homes. You'll also visit celebrity homes, like Michael Douglas's dramatic Manhattan Hideaway, or Neil Simon's Malibu Beach House. And you'll keep up to date with insightful features on architecture, art, and antiques. Call now and get 12 issues of Architectural Digest for only $29.95. You'll also receive absolutely free Celebrity Homes Revisited, a tour that includes the homes of Jeffrey Beam, Pavarotti, and Cher.
Call toll-free 800-652-5151. That's 800-652-5151.
It's been 4 months since the X-Men was launched as a weekly television series, and boy, is it a big hit. In fact, with the X-Men as their anchor, Fox's Saturday morning audience is up 49%, making it the #1 network for children in America. And that makes Stan Lee very happy. He's the creator of the X-Men. In fact, he told us that 30 years ago, when he started his comic book, The X-Men, the reaction was the same.
Oh, it was great. It's because what we try to do at Marvel with all our comics is not just get good guys who are powerful fighting bad guys, and that's the end of it. We try to give them a little more dimension. So the underlying theme of the X-Men was, here's a group of people, each with a unique power, but they were feared and they were distrusted by normal people. So we were able to get themes of prejudice and bigotry into these stories, as well as good guys fighting bad guys. And what happened was we attracted an entire new audience of older readers.
Flash forward to 1993, and you'll find that X-Men, the TV show, is luring its fair share of teenage viewers too. But what we wanted to know was why Lee originally decided to make these young superheroes mutants.
A lot of people have asked, how come came up with the idea of mutants? And the real explanation is laziness, for this reason. As you can imagine, when you do superhero stories, every time you come up with a new superhero, you have to figure out a way that he got his superpower. Well, how many times can you have somebody bitten by a radioactive spider or born on a planet Krypton? I mean, after a while, you run out of ideas. So it occurred to me, by saying that these people are mutants, which means they were just born with a certain power, they mutated the way vegetables do or anything else, you don't have to explain things. You can come up with any idea you want, and you can say, oh, well, he's a mutant. Oh, I see, that's how it happened. Well, that makes a lot of sense.
Well, get a load of that. A mutant trying to raid.
That made a lot of sense to the creators of another animated series, a series which has already made a big splash on the Saturday morning scene, a series that has spawned 3 feature films and raked in millions of dollars from merchandising tie-ins.
All right, already, let's go.
That's very funny, as I'm sure you're aware, the Teenage Ninja Turtles was a takeoff on the X-Men, because we had teenage mutants. We got a big kick out of it.
Our mutant powers make us superior. That is why they fear us.
It's taken 30 years for X-Men to make it to the small screen, and Stan is now active in bringing other Marvel properties to Hollywood. But is it too late for Lee to play catch-up with his competitors over at DC Comics, whose characters like Superman and Batman have been Hollywood regulars for decades?
One of the reasons I'm here in Los Angeles is I'm involved in our motion picture projects, and we have many of them in the works. At the moment, Jim Cameron is prepping a story for Spider-Man. Now, you know, Cameron is the fellow who did The Terminator, and he's determined to make Spider-Man at least as big as The Terminator, which does not depress me the least little bit. We have Doctor Strange in the works. We have an X-Men film that's being negotiated right now, and a number of our other characters, the Fantastic Four, the Black Panther, the Ghost Rider. So I think in the next few years, you're going to see Marvel represented quite a lot on the screen.
For Lee and Marvel Comics, slow and steady may win the race to Hollywood. And if the success of X-Men is any indication, Stan Lee may be laughing last and best.
Hi there, this is Jeannie Weisky of Minneapolis, Minnesota. I highly recommend the Quintara Marathon by Jack L. Chalker. It's a wonderful blend of science fiction and fantasy. Once you start it, you won't be able to put it down.
I'm a Branch Davidian and I'm alright. I shoot all day and I pray all night. I worship Kura, she's the Lamb of God. CBS calls him a drunken sod. But I'm a Branch Davidian and I'm okay. I shoot all night and I pray all day. Look, here I stand on, what is that, I don't know, the 490th day of the standoff in Waco, Texas. And the FBI is saying they're going to deal with him as soon as they get a message from God. I can just see God now. You know, God hasn't got anything better to do. He hasn't talked to Jerry Falwell in weeks. Jerry's got bad breath. So God got, come on out, David. It's time, David. Nothing happens. I'm talking to a friend of mine the other day, Tom Monteleone, the author, who happens to write these thrillers about sort of millennial, biblical, supernatural horror novels. Like, well, here, this is one right here. It's called The Blood of the Lamb. Now, this is not The Silence of the Lambs. That's a different one in which people eat people. This one is The Blood of the Lamb, and it's Tom Monteleone. He's a very fine writer. And he writes these books about the Second Coming and that kind of thing. And we're talking about the Branch Davidians and these nutcases who are, you know, sort of pseudo Jim Jones nutcases in Waco, Texas. And he said, how can they be so crazy? How can they believe that stuff? I said, you're a Catholic, Tom. You believe that they nailed up a Jew and he got down off it and he came out of a cave and he walked on water and he raised the dead. What are you telling me that they're crazy for? Well, folks, I've been too easy with you. I've allowed you to believe a lot of very strange things. I really have to intercede in the name of common sense. Now, for instance, the magazine comes out every quarter called Skeptical Inquirer. It's a very good magazine for you to read. Skeptical Inquirer does articles about those stupid circles that they find in wheat fields in England, which, you know, are made by people doing stupid things in wheat fields. I mean, I guess they have nothing better to do. They have time on their hands. And right here, there's a special report. This special report says 3.7 million Americans have been kidnapped by aliens. They took the reports from all of the various tabloid papers, and they analyzed them. They got a whole mathematical grouping, and they find that if, in fact, as many people as say have been kidnapped by aliens have been, it's 3.7 million Americans. Now, isn't it amazing that of all those 3.7 million Americans, not one of them could put a sentence together properly and grammatically? They always come to some yo-yo out in East Chitley Switch, Georgia, and then they take him up into space and they give him a rectal examination. Now, I don't know about you, but if I were a proctologist, one rectal examination is more than enough to learn everything you need to know about the human anatomy. But these aliens are either perverts or it's not happening. Look, when I do these comments with you, and being a writer who writes science fiction and fantasy and that kind of thing, I try to tell you that there's a big difference between me using a Loch Ness Monster or a Yeti in a story and actually believing that crap. I don't believe that stuff. I'm a human being. I'm a normal person. I believe in Occam's razor. I think there probably is something out there in space, and eventually we'll find it, but I do not think they come here on a regular weekly basis. Here are the 10 great unanswered questions of science. And not one of them is about flying saucers. Now pay close attention. If you can answer any of these 10, we promise you an all-expense-paid tour to the fabulous Art Deco studios of Sci-Fi Buzz. You'll love it. It's fabulous. It's the size of the Taj Mahal. The 10 great unanswered questions of science from Discover Magazine, November 1992. Number 1, how big is the universe? 2, does chaos rule the cosmos? Number 3, what drives climate? Number 4, how did life start? 5, is anyone out there? 6, how does a single cell become a whole body? 7, what is consciousness? 8, who peopled the planet? 9, how many people can Earth hold? And 10, can we wipe out disease? Now, these are great mysteries. You don't really need to believe crazy stuff, like James Dean is not actually dead, but living hideously deformed in a mental institution in Indiana, or that Elvis Presley makes regular visits to 7-Elevens. You don't have to believe that stuff. Trust me on this. I talk to God regularly. She tells me that's wrong.
This is me, Vicky. Before I went on a diet and started using an Easy Glider, I lost 125 pounds. Here I am, 2 years later, still using my Easy Glider, and I haven't gained any of the weight back.
Easy Glider's not just for exercise anymore. This 20-minute workout gets you on your way to total fitness with cardiovascular conditioning, muscle toning, and yes, weight loss.
I watched what I ate, I drank a lot of water, I used my Easy Glider, and that's how I lost 59 pounds.
It's low impact and works both your upper and lower body. You can burn up to 300 calories per workout.
I tried jogging, playing racquetball, and even starving myself, but nothing lasted or made me feel as good as my Easy Glider.
And it folds flat for easy storage.
You get a lot of exercise for your money with an Easy Glider.
Call 1-800-652-4242. We'll bill your credit card 3 easy payments of $19.95 each. You get a full 60-day home trial with a money-back guarantee. Total price $59.85 plus $9 shipping and handling. Call 1-800-652-4242.
Red lights at night, the grave digger's delight. Now, from Demented Minds, straight to your home VCR, the most awesome monster truck of them all, Grave Digger. Now, Grave Digger the video brings monster truck thrills into your living room. See Grave Digger smashing, turning piles of cars into piles of pancakes. You'll go inside, you'll go underneath, you'll meet the men who built the ultimate machine, Grave Digger, the video. You're in trouble. Get your credit card ready, because when it's your time to go, it is your time. The ultimate home monster truck video, Grave Digger, the video.
Use your credit card and order Grave Digger the video, only $19.95 plus shipping. Call 1-800-641-7575. Don't miss this special monster truck offer. Call 1-800-641-7575 before it's too late.
Well, it's no secret that Stephen King and George Romero are friends and they love to work together, but recently it hasn't worked out. George wanted to direct The Stand, and it didn't work out. Then he wanted to direct Pet Sematary. Came this close? No way. And then he wanted to direct It, and that didn't work out. Well, after 3 near misses, George and Stephen say they've got a hit on their hands with a horror film gone to the birds called The Dark Half.
Sparrows are a running theme throughout The Dark Half. According to ancient folklore, the tiny birds act as harbingers of the dead, escorting souls between the living and the dead. But was the film's star, Timothy Hutton, bothered by the beaky little co-stars?
No, I don't mind birds. I mean, there was a day where we had, 5,000 finches, cutthroat finches they were called, flying all around us. And, it gets a little hairy at times because they fly real close to you, but it was all right.
Getting all those birds to act on cue was cause for some drastic measures in set design.
Well, the actual set was sort of a scrim put up all the way around it. So in effect, it was a cage, but it was a big set.
Handling the reins on the set was master shockmeister George Romero, who adapted Stephen King's novel for the screen. Hutton, who claims to be a big fan of the Romero classic, Night of the Living Dead, has nothing but praise for the offbeat director.
He's just a great guy. I mean, he's got a great sense of humor. He's a great storyteller. and he watches very closely. He knows how to build a scene. I think there's offbeat things about everybody who did that movie. Just being in that atmosphere, you know.
In The Dark Half, Hutton plays Thad Beaumont, an unsuccessful novelist who finds financial reward as a horror writer under the pseudonym George Stark. When Thad tries to kill George off, well, let's just say George doesn't take it sitting down.
What the hell? We all have something of the beast inside us. We can either suppress it or encourage it.
Yeah, I think everybody's got a part of them, you know, buried below that always wants to maybe try the dramatic thing or the outrageous thing, and you always have to. I think it's the dark side that causes impulsive behavior.
Hutton, who plays both Thad and George in the movie, was subjected to arduous daily makeup routines, compliments of the makeup effects house, Optic Nerve.
You are disturbing my peaceful frame of mind.
So intense was the transition from nice guy, Thad Beaumont, to the evil George Stark, Hutton requested a separate makeup trailer for George in order to get into the proper maniacal mood.
Somebody on the set of the movie coined the phrase method makeup trailer because it was a different makeup trailer than where everybody else was made up. It was the George Stark makeup trailer, and it was a mess. I mean, it was perfect in keeping with George Stark. It had Led Zeppelin playing all the time and pizzas on the floor, on the ceiling. It was a pretty scary trailer.
Hey, pretty scary movie. One that should have George Romero and friends screaming all the way to the bank. When we return, it's a buzz birthday for gimmick king William Castle.
Did you know that stress and certain vitamin deficiencies can cause hair loss, and that researchers are growing hair in a test tube? When you call Hair Club for Men, we'll send you this information along with Hair Club's own advances in dealing with hair loss.
I wanted something that looked very natural and also looked very natural when I was skiing and when my hair was very wet.
It made me feel old to be going thin at 24.
Hair Club's innovative techniques in dealing with hair loss will give you the confidence you've always wanted.
I did not ask to lose my hair. And for a long period of time, I thought that I would have no choice. And with Hair Club, I do have that choice.
No matter what sport or activity, your new hair will look and feel like your own.
Now that I have a full head of hair, people that haven't seen me in a while, they don't even know I had anything done. It's like totally natural to them.
So call Hair Club for Men and receive our free brochure, along with some tips that may help you keep the hair you have.
I'm not only the Hair Club president, but I'm also a client.
It's not just another mint mouthwash. It fights black. And it fights the gum infection, gingivitis. It's Cool Mint Listerine Antiseptic. It fights bad breath with an exhilarating, cool, minty taste. No, it's not just another mint mouthwash. Cool Mint Listerine works like Listerine, tastes like Cool Mint.
Creatures of the night come out of the shadows on Dark Shadows. All the episodes shown the way they were intended. Tomorrow at 11, 8 Pacific. You are watching Sci-Fi Buzz on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Get ready to launch yourself into the world of Air and Space Smithsonian, a world that captivates the imagination. Satellites, superjets, soaring, something different every other month. There's no other magazine like Air and Space, and with your subscription comes membership in the National Air and Space Museum in Washington.
To order Air and Space, call 800-652-4242 and receive a full year, 6 issues for just $18 with membership in the National Air and Space Museum, 800-652-4242.
Now, let me just say right up front, of course, William Castle is dead, and some people may think that it's in poor taste that we're having a birthday party for this man. But Bob Burns has come by. He worked with William Castle. Of course, Bob is a special effects man himself and a special effects collector. Good to have you here, Bob. Nice to see you again.
Nice to be
Now,
here.
what would William Castle think of this?
He'd love it.
Really?
He'd love this type of stuff. Absolutely. His name's on it and all that kind of stuff. He thinks it's great. He was the king.
Now, speaking of poor taste, I'm going to let you taste this cake, and ooh, boy, she made it.
Well, did you?
But first, we want to honor William Castle. William Castle, the master of movie horror, was also the ultimate showman. In the late 50s and early 60s, he spooked, shocked, and buzzed the behinds of millions of theatergoers, eager to have the pants scared off of them. His use of gadgetry and gimmicks to sell a film is now the stuff of Hollywood film lore. In The Tingler, for example, he rigged theater seats with buzz boxes.
You will feel some of the physical reactions, the shocking sensations experienced by the actors on the screen. I guarantee that The Tingler has more shocks per minute than my last film, The House on Haunted Hill.
I'm Vincent Price. You're invited to my party in the House on Haunted Hill.
When Castle put one of Hollywood's greatest horror stars, Vincent Price, in his movie House on Haunted Hill, the end product was one of the classic genre films of all time. But even with a surefire box office draw like Price, he still threw in Emergo, whereby a skeleton would fly over the audience and scare them half to death. One of Castle's most popular ploys was the fright break. He personally guaranteed every audience member their money back if they were too frightened to see the film's shocking climax. Of course, the money had to be redeemed at the coward's corner.
Do you think it's fair to tell the ending of a picture like this to your friend?
No.
Why not?
Well, well, for one thing, if they're going to see it, it spoils it. And for another thing, let them pay their 70 cents and see it and find out for themselves.
Thank you very much.
Though always a horror fan, Castle's obsession with scaring people moved into high gear after working as Bela Lugosi's assistant on a stage production of Dracula.
May I introduce a friend of Casper's, Mr. Pendrell?
Such a surprise to find he had a friend. We're having you for dinner. Delicious.
Castle films were not without their share of familiar faces. A young Tom Poston, who later found television fame on Newhart, starred in two Castle films, The Dark Old House and Zotz.
Someone really needled her.
Must have been murder. She always knitted so carefully.
That's British actor Robert Morley hamming it up on The Dark Old House. There's Jim Backus doing sort of a warped rendition of his Mr. Magoo character in Zotz. But Castle's biggest casting coup came when Joan Crawford agreed to star in the chiller Straight Jacket.
Leave me alone!
In Straight Jacket, Crawford plays a deranged mother/axe murderess. So much more effective than those wire hangers, don't you think?
Do you believe in ghosts? I do. And you will too, when you come to this theater and see my picture, 13 Ghosts. No more dictation today.
Whether he was hawking supernatural viewers that allowed audiences to penetrate the spirit world in 13 Ghosts, or selling life insurance policies in Macabre, William Castle knew how to titillate the audience's horror taste buds better than anyone else. Aw, trick candles! Trick candles! That's you, isn't it?
I got two of mine out.
Oh, goodness. Now, what kind of job did you do for William Castle?
I was on The Tingler.
Pardon me?
Pardon. Movie called The Tingler.
Oh, The Tingler.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, well, I helped set up the theater things with all the buzzers in them and things like that. Oh, yeah. And we met him at the airport, and I fixed up my wife as a Miss Shock, which is a bad face, and made up a skeleton key of the city and presented it to him, and he thought this was the greatest thing since sliced bread, I guess. And he didn't know it was a real pair of bones in there until he saw it a couple of days later.
Well, speaking of slicing things, why don't you do the honors here with our machete?
Oh, I'd love to do that. Yeah, where do I start?
With that head, please.
Okay, all right, here we
dig
go.
in.
I'm going right now. This is it. Oh!
Happy birthday, William Castle.
Yeah, Bill, wherever you are.
Yay. 1 week away, the buzz crashes an LA convention of leapers. Behind the scenes with the wizards of K&B Effects, fantasy artist Larry Dixon, and meet the creators of the Batman hit TV series.